Alright, so we are going to be diving further into the kingdom of animals, okay, and we are going to be heading into sea life next. So sea life comes in a lot of different forms and loveliness, I gotta say. So we're going to be looking at one particular group of animals, but we have everything from mollusks, so things like sea slugs. So we'll give it the rabbit ear sea slug. These are also known as nudibranchs because they do not have a shell, they are nude. We have crustaceans, shrimp, lobsters, crabs, anything that has jointed because it is part of arthropods. So we will go ahead and do good old shrimp. And 10 pairs of legs. Okay, we also, of course, have mammals and fish and bony animals, okay, vertebrates. Fish is so wide, I'm just gonna put fish. That I'm tired. I'm very tired. We got, and then of course I drew two friends up here. So we also have Porifera. Por is already in there and porous is he. So we got big old sea sponges. And they come in all sorts of sizes. They can have tube-like shapes. Okay, they could be the big barrel type, but sea sponges all basically work the same. It's actually a colony of smaller animals, very much like coral, that work together to be filter feeders. Okay, so they're actually using this unique shape to allow water to filter through them, and they capture all the little nutrients and plankton that they need to eat and survive. They are an animal. They are not a plant. Do not get them mixed up. And we got echinoderms. Echino meaning spiny, and derm meaning skin. And of course this is sea urchins and their spineless cousins. I actually love to eat them. Sea stars. Sea stars are odd. Their eyes are actually located at the ends of each of their legs. Usually a beautiful blue color. They have hundreds of feet there on the underside of their arms. And to eat their prey, they turn their stomachs inside out to actually grab onto them and pull them in. And these, if you ever take zoology in college, know when it comes to dissecting a sea star, they are a pain in the butt. I actually broke my dissection scissors on one. That's how tough the skin is of these animals. Ugh, so annoying. Alright, we have cephalo, meaning head, and pod, meaning foot. So head, foot. Okay, and that's easy to know because it's literally a head, and then they had the feet. Anything that is a squid or an octopus is in the cephalopod family. Who's texting me? What do you want? Don't talk to me right now. I'm recording. But the one group of animals we're going to be looking at is named after a Greek mythological creature. There's that zoa again, meaning life. So Medusa life. I haven't heard of salt life yet. Medusa, okay, is actually a sub-branch of Cnidaria. And this, of course, is jellyfish. So here are just some of the few groups that represent a lot of the diversity of the ocean. So what you're going to be doing is a watercolor wax resist, okay? You're going to get a piece of watercolor paper, and we are going to be looking at Medusozoa because they're relatively easy and people don't flip out too hard about them unless you have a phobia, and if you do, I am very sorry. Just know that this one can never ever 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 hurt you. Thank you. These animals have multiple stages of the life cycle. It actually starts as something that's attached, okay, which is called a hydra. I'm going to turn you off because I don't want to talk to y'all right now. Thank you. A hydra, and when it grows into size and becomes a polyp, okay, will eventually release and actually swims upside down with the tentacles up. And then as it grows older, actually it's going to invert itself, okay, and the tentacles go down, and then it becomes an adult. Odd creatures when you really think about it. They have very basic eyes that can only see light and dark and some infrared. They don't have a real organized stomach. They don't have a real organized brain. They don't have really organized gills of any kind. But they are still quite ethereal and pretty. So on your piece of watercolor paper, you're going to have different colors of crayons you can use. Jellyfish come in all sorts of colors, and so a lot of them glow in the dark if you put them underneath the black light. and very, very pretty. Some can be as big as your fingernail. The largest one is over 150 feet long, and as the actual bell part of it is as big as a man. It's called the lion's mane jellyfish, and they are quite huge and gorgeous. I would say avoid blue, because your water is going to be blue, so I'm actually going to put that back. But we're going to go over some of the basic anatomy of your jellyfish with this. So starting near the top of your paper, we are going to simply have an upside down line and a edge to, oh camera, you may go fight. Edge to the bell. This is called the bell of the jellyfish. And we are actually going to give a pattern to this. Okay, and you can make this bottom edge a little thicker. So we have this. You have main tentacles, okay, and then you have the ones that are in the actual, hang on, I had the wrong tab up. Where did that tab go? Oral arms, that's it. So these oral arms, I just don't like these colors. I want better colors, pink. Alright, the oral arms. So these are fun. You really just want really wiggly, 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 wiggly. Wiggly, 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 wiggly. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Bow, down, bow, 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 wiggle. Alright, and a lot of these have kind of an even number of these. But we are going to come in and we are going to crispen these up. So these are kind of the thick part of the jellyfish that's underneath it. They happen to have kind of a more gelatinous feel to them. They're not as thin as the actual stinging tentacles. So these act as a kind of a net that can pull things into the bell for digestion, which is very slow for a lot of these animals. Slow and probably very painful, actually. Thankfully you can't feel too much after being stung. You can add more lines to these. The more you add, the more detail you actually give to it, the better off it's going to be in the long run. Okay, so we have that, and then I'll go with red. For our tentacles, okay, you do want to make sure that these are bold lines. You want to try to evenly space them out on your jellyfish. You can crisscross applesauce. Some can come from behind the oral arms to show that there are tentacles on the other side. We'll go ahead and add tentacles to your jelly. And of course, when you watercolor these, we're going to, of course, make them look very airy and beautiful. And also, I'm going to be instructing Ms. Lawrence to put out salt in little cups for y'all to work with. Now, some of y'all may remember working with salt and watercolor before. The only way it works, okay, is you have to have a wet watercolored already surface to put the salt in. Now, if you remember Mikey from my first 8th grade class that I tell you about with my horror stories, he literally had a dry thing we were working on. The next time, he took the salt and threw it onto his dry watercolor and screamed at me how it wasn't working! Why isn't it working, you liar! And I was like, 'cause it's dry. Duh. I didn't say duh, but I really wanted to. I had to be professional. So what you do is you put down the blue, okay, or any color that you want while it's still wet, not damp, actually wet. You're going to sprinkle salt into that watercolor and let it star, okay? Little star patterns are going to go out because there's going to be a chemical reaction between the salt and the watercolor pigment itself. And it makes almost like the kind of plankton that are drifting around this jellyfish. But go ahead, draw out yours with crayon, make them beautiful, bright, colorful. When it comes to, I don't have my watercolors on me right now. Who said it had to be blue? Like I said, jellyfish come in all sorts of colors. Some of them glow in the dark underneath black lights. So some of them could be like fluorescent kind of colors. I'm going to go with a yellow with this. The lion mane is an orange jellyfish. We have Portuguese man of war, which is a purple jellyfish. Now, I don't know too many of green jellyfish, but hey, if it glows underneath a black light, it probably would glow green. So yeah, so go ahead and do your jellyfish, and I can't wait to see them. All right, bye-bye.